Hey everyone, Teen Mechanic here. Today is a new video. Yeah. So, basically, there was no video on this, and you guys are gonna hate me for that. Um, I got the engine down in the last video, in the painting video. I said that this thing was stripped down to, I had made it ready to come out. But I didn't have a video on it because my phone was about to die. I did it that night. I was running out of daylight, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to keep pulling it out. So I did. I kept pulling it out. My phone had died while it was recording, so I have a little bit of footage, which I'll play right now. Okay, well, I'm sorry to skip this far ahead, but I've already got the hoist hooked up here. You guys didn't really need to see me pull another engine, but we're already separated from the transmission here. As hopefully, well, you can't really see it, but we're separated, so I'm just working on getting it out. My phone is about to die, but let's give it a shot. But other than that, I mean, that's the only footage I really had, so nothing of it coming out. Now, the LTD, if you missed a YouTube short I put up, the LTD is in the driveway with no engine. So, anyway, in this video, we're gonna finally start working on this engine, which is a massive relief to me. This is the whole reason we ended up doing this. I am going to be doing the head gaskets. Now, I talked to my uncle last night. He had said that on the Chevys and certain other different ones, these aren't necessarily rockers, these are spoons. Spoons is kind of their nickname, but they're rocker arms that have adjustable lash. And I knew that. I knew that there were, you might have to adjust the lash, but I had never heard the term spoons before. But anyway, so see, there you go. There's a rocker arm that's at zero lash right there. So anyway, I am not worried about pulling this thing apart. So anyway, first thing I'm gonna do though is the oil pan. Now I cannot. This engine stand is crappy. But I'm gonna. I can only rotate it kind of halfway up. So that's what I'm gonna be doing to get the oil pan off. So yeah. Anyway, that's the first thing I'm gonna do right now. Then I will do the heads, and then I will do the timing. Timing is going to be super easy, and that is going to make the biggest difference, I think. But while I'm here, I may as well do the heads. And yeah, I mean, that's about it. I'm really excited to have this thing running beautifully. So anyway, let's get right into it. Alrighty, so you're gonna have to forgive me because of the lighting. Just ignore that over there. Haven't gotten to that yet. But anyway, now the engine is ready, and let's go ahead and tilt this thing. That's all I can do because the bracket interferes with it. So okay, I gotta get a spot with better lighting. Alright, that's a ton better. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take this oil pan off. I'm excited. Well, there's just no way you can't make a mess, so. Okay, let's assess this carnage here. Alright, so here's the oil pan. Lots of coolant and oil came flying out. Yeah, I can see this gasket is totally just ruined. Like, there's no sealing properties whatsoever. Anyway, this oil pan here, I don't see a crazy amount of like obvious sludge. There's sludge in there, but nothing crazy. So let's look at the engine itself here. There's the crank, and that actually looks a lot better than I was expecting. It's black, that's for sure, but it doesn't look too bad. So there's the oil pickup. I don't see it gummed up. The screen isn't gummed up too bad. I mean, there's lots of sludge on it. But then coming up to the oil pump here, that's exactly where the distributor sits, right on that Allen right there. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, anyway, yeah, I don't know. The oil pump, I mean, it all looks pretty good. So now, the reason I pulled this engine, or this oil pan out, now I'm going to clean this the hell up, and I think I'm going to paint it, and then I'm going to put it right back on with the new gasket and the rear main seal. Now, let's look at the rear main seal, actually. Right back here, yeah, so it's one of those two-piece designs. That's the oil pan end seal. I don't even know how to get to the rear main seal, so I'll have to figure that part out. I don't see where the rear main seal is. It's sure leaking from the end seal, that's for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and get this gasket off of here, which is gonna be quite a bit of work because it's just gonna flake off. Okay, now please forgive the noise. It's very loud, but while this thing fills up for the oil pan, it should stop any second. In fact, stop right about now. There we go. Okay, so anyway, now while I'm gonna wait for that oil pan. I mean, I'm sanding that down right now. It's now many hours later, and now I'm gonna go ahead and start working on pulling the heads. Now I am gonna be leaving this on until the very last thing because I don't want this thing to get crazy out of time. I don't know if this thing is an interference engine. You guys will have to let me know. I don't know if the 351 Windsor is interference or not. Sorry about the sun glare. Anyway, this here is going to stay on until I'm ready to get this all back together. Now, I'm trying to get this engine in by tomorrow. We'll see how that works. I don't know if I'll be able to, but we'll see. So anyway, now I'm going to work on pulling the heads. Torque sequence. Don't know. I don't want to ruin the heads, so I got to make sure I have the PDF torque sequence. First thing I'm going to do, though, is go ahead and take off all of these rockers and pull out the push rods. I'm not sure if they're different lengths, so we'll have to find out. But that's what I'll do right now. All right, let's get these all off. Alright, so now I'm going to figure out what this torque sequence is just so I don't mess anything up. Alright, so for the 351 Windsor, it says to go, the torque sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I just went 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now they're all broken loose. Now I got to do the same thing on that side, but first I'm going to take this head off. So here's an issue I keep having. These bolts are running into the exhaust manifold, and I don't want to take it off because I don't have new manifold gaskets. So I'm just going to have to find a... Alright, so it's now a little bit later because my phone keeps overheating, so I had to put it in the freezer. Anyway, all these bolts are loose. Let's get this thing off. Alright, so technically this head is ready to fall off, so let's just hope that does not happen. Oh, there we go. Holy cow, that is a heavy head. Oh. 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 There you go. So here's the new one. I don't know how to pronounce this here. Victor Rhymes, I don't know. Anyway, let's see here. It should fit just perfectly. So far it looks like it does. Yes, that fits perfectly. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and clear this surface. I'm going to really try to refrain from using any sort of razor blade because I don't want any compression issues or blown head gaskets. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, I'm actually going to go ahead and get this head off first. Okay, guys, I've spent the last long while cleaning these head surfaces and the block. So now let's go ahead and put the new gaskets on and put on the heads. Hold on, I have to butt in here for a sec. A lot of you guys are going to get after me for putting the heads on like this. I decided not to paint them because I don't have the capacity. I'm going to be cleaning all that crap up on the back, but I just can't paint them right now. It's just too much work, and I don't feel like doing it, so I'm just going to leave them like this, clean all the grease off, but I'm going to leave it like this. Alright, so what I'm going to do, you start with about 90 to 95 pounds, and then you torque them to 100 in that same sequence. And I'll show you which one that is. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so now that those are all torqued down to 90, we're going to go to 100. Okay, sorry to skip this far ahead. I'm running out of storage here again. This here, the heads are bolted on. This one's torqued down. I have the manifolds back on. Yes, I took them off because they don't actually need a gasket. Oh, and I haven't even tightened this one back down yet. But anyway, now what I'm going to do is I am going to take... I have the push rods already installed, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is take all of these... rockers, and I'm going to put them on in the exact order that they came off. I don't think it matters, although they're numbered, and I mean the numbers don't line up or anything, but they're numbered, and I'm going to put them back on the same place they came off, and these things are spoons. That's their nickname, apparently. So anyway, these rocker arms, basically, they're not rocker arms where they sit on one axle and just rock back and forth. They are spoons. You basically, they sit on individual studs, but in this case they're bolts. Basically you just have to tighten this down until there is zero lash. Now let me show you what I mean. So basically what zero lash is, you can see this here, this rocker arm. I can twist this super easily. Now, a lot of people, when they're adjusting lash, they cut the valve covers or they take them off and oil gets everywhere. That is a very common method. You don't have to do that. The engine doesn't have to be out of the car. The intake doesn't have to be off. As long as you can get a little bit of access to the push rods, just like this, you can feel kind of where they are. So this one here, you can see how loose this is. There's no up and down travel, but you can twist it really easily. There's lots of side-to-side movement. So this thing is going to clack when the engine's running. So to get to zero lash, all right, so you can see here how much side-to-side movement there is and up and down movement and twisting. So what you want to do is take this ratchet and put it on here. You need two hands to do this. So ultimately what zero lash is when you are feeling this and there's lots of side-to-side movement, you get your ratchet on here and you feel, and you just keep tightening down until it just starts to make contact with the lifter. Now, you do that. If there's lots of side-to-side movement, you get it so that if you can still twist it, that's okay, but it's starting to make contact with the lifter. So what that means is this is not contact with the lifter. That's up and down. And then when you get to it, contact with the lifter, you have to feel it out. Contact with the lifter is very subtle, and you have to be paying very close attention. But anyway, you can get there. Now, this valve is closed but needs to be open because this lifter is up. So basically what you do in that case is you move this back and forth until it makes contact. So we're getting these to 0 lash is what we're doing. So anyway, once you are at 0 lash, being able to twist it is okay, but you don't want it to be moving anywhere. If the rocker moves just a tiny bit, that's okay. But you definitely want to be at 0 lash. Now, 0 lash is pretty easy to get to. Now, there's something called preload, which is how much force is on this thing before the before any lifters are pumped up or anything like this. Now, these lifters are pumped up, which is kind of a difficult thing to work around, but it can be done. So I'm just going to have to work around that. Anyway, so once you get all of these to 0 lash by doing that exact same thing, you feel it out, tighten this down, and when you get to 0 lash, what you're going to do after you've gotten that to 0 lash is you're going to rotate the engine, say 90 degrees. So from up, you're going to go to the side like that, 90 degrees, and you're going to rotate the crank. And that is, and lots of these are going to flop around. Some of them are going to be way tighter, and that is because the camshaft has adjusted. So anyway, let me basically show you what I mean after I get all of these to 0 lash. All right, so follow along with me here if you can. I hope you can hear me okay, but you can see how ridiculous this one is. That's ridiculous. So basically what you do is you get this down, you keep feeling it. This is way too loose. So you keep feeling this down. I gotta tighten this. So you can see there's less and less play as you tighten this down. So now, basically, I am at 0 lash, right about there. That's 0 lash. Now right here, this lifter is up, so let's just get to 0 lash. This one here, same thing. Zero lash. I think you might be starting to see a trend here with the 0 lash. All right, so now all of those are in, so let's get all these to 0 lash. Okay, so all of these are zeroed out. We're at 0 lash on all 16 of these rocker arms and push rods. So now what you want to do, rotate this engine 90 degrees. Let me show you. All right, I've turned it 90 degrees and that was really sketchy. It's held in by 3 bolts. So anyway, now we just go around and adjust the lash to 0 again. Okay, so now they're all at 0 lash again. So now I rotated another 90 degrees, and then we just go ahead and do the same thing again. Okay, we're on our third 90 turn. All right, let's do it one more time. Okay, so now we've done one full revolution of this engine. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to set the preload. So basically, what I recommend doing, as do a lot of people recommend doing, is doing 3/4 of a turn preload. So basically, you would take your ratchet, put it on the bolt, and go 3/4 of a turn. So you'd go 1/4, 2/4. I can't really do it with this hand. 1/4, or no. It would be that's how you put it on. Then it would be 1/4, half, 3/4. That's what you should do setting preload. Now, some people do half, some people do torque spec, although you want to actually set a preload. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this case, is setting a preload rather than a torque spec, because then it could be different for everyone. So now I'm going to do a preload. Now you'll notice that most of these are not actually, some of them are way too tight to turn to 3/4, and some of them you just zip them to 3/4. So now what I'm going to do is a whole revolution of the engine, making sure that the preload is set properly. First, I'm going to check the push rods though. Alright, I'm actually not going to do a whole revolution. I am satisfied with that. So now, guys, this engine is just about done. We have the head gaskets done. We have the lash adjusted. Everything is good. This thing should not clack at all when we start it up. This thing is solid. So, well, I got to bolt this exhaust manifold back on, but now I think all we got to do is the timing. Now, this should be pretty easy, so let's go ahead and get this thing to top dead center. The way I'm going to do that is feel the compression on the cylinder 1 spark plug hole as we look at this keyway here, and we look and see when that's near the top. So I'm actually going to turn this engine backward, and then I'm going to feel as I turn it towards the keyway. I'm going to see if it's at top dead center. Alrighty, so we are at top dead center on this motor, and boy, oh boy, this engine stand is finicky, but we are here nonetheless. So now what I can do is go ahead and grab this stuff and get it off of here. Now, this part is actually pretty nerve-wracking. You want to make sure that you don't have any valves banging into any pistons, or actually vice versa. But yeah, I know. So this part's pretty worrisome. So you want to make sure that this is at the exact right spot. You want to make, okay, there's my phone. You want to make sure this keyway is exactly pointing up, and that you are not on an exhaust stroke at when the cylinder 1 is at the top. All right, so now that we're top dead center, we can go ahead and take this off now. I'm actually going to go ahead and take this crank bolt off here. Although I just got to say again, guys, seriously, don't take these off until you know you're at top dead center and you're planning on changing them. This is the last thing that I'm taking off, because I really cannot have this get, mistimed. So anyway, we are exactly where we need to be at top dead center. So now let's get this crank bolt off, and then we can go ahead and do this. All right, so basically, as you see here, you line up the gears on the chain just like this. It has to be exact. The little keyway on the small crank, and the it's not really keyway, but the alignment pin in the cranks, or in the cam sprocket. Then this slides on just like this. Alright guys, so I only have 28 seconds here, but my camera ran out of storage, so I gotta pack it in anyway. This thing's not ready quite yet, but oil pan goes back on after it's painted tomorrow. But anyway guys, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike, but let me know in the comment section below how I can improve. And let me know what you want to see. I'm really excited for this, but anyway, I gotta get out of here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. But you're gonna get real tired of me saying 0 lash pretty soon.